most experienced offices in the state. So when we hold to our guns, when we have a case that needs to be tried, we try it. And what do? We try homicides. We try attempted homicides. We try large drug cases. We charge and try big cases. This isn't about Walworth County versus Rock County. This is about what each of us brings to the table here. I try cases. I've tried many cases. You have to have a defense bar who's willing to try cases as well. If you can come to a result, let me give you an example. I try and win cases. That's not always what's happened in Walworth County. If you have a juvenile sexual assault and you're sitting in a room with a child who runs away from your room because they're so distraught over the case, if you have a situation where you're going to do more damage to a child by trying a case, then you are going to do good by having that person sit in a room, tell probably 14, because you have alternate jurors in a box, in a very antiseptic place, about the most intimate, private details of their body, of their lives. Or you can make it a situation where somebody is convicted of a crime, which is the job that we do justice, get convictions. If you can get the conviction, and if you can then leave it up to the judge to do their job on the sentencing, and if you can fashion something that you can present to the court which is justice and guarantees a conviction, you do it. Because that's what our role is. We are protecting those victims. I have sat in a room with a child who ran away. I have sat in a room with a child who cried so hard that she defecated in her pants. I have sat in a room and heard the stories of all these child victims and their parents who have told me straight out, I don't want my child to testify. I don't want them to go through that. We use a child advocacy center, just like in Walworth County. And Walworth County is a phenomenal child advocacy center, which takes away some of the pain. But the law says we have to put that child victim on the stand, have to be available for cross-examination. We have to do that. So there is no way, without having a matter settled, that I can always protect that child victim. If I can get certainty for that child victim, that is my goal. It's not notches in a bedpost. It's not notches on a belt to say I have so many trials. I will tell you, I have quit counting my trials long ago, because that's what you do when you're young. It is a results-oriented business. If you try a case and lose, you have not gotten justice for that victim. If you try a case and win, and the judge says you've overvalued that case, and it actually goes below the offer, often happens as well. It's not a good use of resources. If everybody in this community wants to spend 52 weeks a year on jury duty, then we can do that. It is patently false to say that we have judges there that we're paying and court staff that we're paying, and if we don't use jury trials, we're wasting time. Actually, why do civil cases not go to trial as much? Because they recognize it's money. It is resources. We keep our people extremely busy. We have court every day. We have cases that we handle. We have victim witness staff who sit down with victims who don't want to be in a court situation, don't want to be in a court setting. They are still victims, and their feelings on what they want to do with their case are just as valid as any case that goes to trial. If you want to look at a case that didn't go to trial, let me give you an example. We had a case recently in which I was a prosecutor and a person decided to smoke marijuana, get in their car, and pick up their twin 2-year-old boys. Another wonderful woman, very important to the community, a social worker who was working with people getting out of prison, who was working with people who had drug and alcohol issues, got off of work and went to pick up her own son. She happened to be 8 months pregnant. She went to pick up her own son at daycare. What happened? As she picked up her son and was driving away, this person who made the decision to smoke marijuana and get behind the wheel crashed into her, changing her life forever by taking that 8-month-old baby. The baby died on an emergency C-section. That woman was distraught. She could no longer go back to what she used to do for a living. She did not have the emotional ability to stand in a courtroom and face everything that had to be happening. She was worried about her son. She was worried about her physical injuries. I was able to get a plea for a free-to-argue sentence on that operating while intoxicated homicide case. I argued for 25 to 28 years initial confinement. The judge ended up giving 18. The defense was arguing for 10 years in jail, or excuse me, in prison as initial confinement. I could have forced that to trial. Absolutely could have, no questions asked. I would not have done justice for the victim, and I may not have been able to be in a position where the court understood what this family was going through without exposing the child, who was 4 years old and also had incredible injuries. And what was the result? Because we're a results-oriented business. The result was that that individual is going to spend 18 years in prison, has another period of extended supervision after that. Because of the work that we did to protect the victim and to get a plea ahead of time, we protected the victim emotionally, we protected the child from having to come in and testify, and we certainly used the court system, and we're using the prison system, because he will be in prison. He has a prison sentence for decades. 18 years initial confinement, 10 years extended supervision.
I really apologize. The camera shuts off after 20 minutes, and it shut off when you were giving your original part to that. I was checking it, but apparently I wasn't doing it.
No, that's okay.
I'm really sorry.
No, sure. Why don't you read the question again, and I'll go again.
Yeah, can you tell me your approach to dealing with humans?
Sure. I think in the most important thing, or the most important job for a prosecutor, is to seek justice, and that's our role as a prosecutor. So when we have cases that come across our desk, it's part of our job to make those offers to defendants and their attorneys, to offer a resolution that's fair and that does justice. It's up to a defendant and their attorney whether or not to accept those offers. And if they don't, then it's our job as prosecutors to have a jury trial. We have a strong record of having jury trials here in Walworth County at much higher levels than at Rock County. So it's a good thing to have trials. Jury trials allow the parties to come in and present their cases. It allows 12 jurors to come in and decide whether or not a person is guilty of a crime, and it allows victims to come in and have justice done for them as well. A concern with victims of crimes isn't just how they react when they're 4 years old and have to be on the stand, but it's how they react as adults as well. Child victims carry these acts with them all the way into adulthood, and you want to make sure that somebody knows when they're an adult that we did everything that we could to make sure that they had justice when they were a child.
I'm sorry about that.
Nope, that's okay.
Okay, well, thank you both so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.